I'm learning that with this coaching. I think I told you about the coaching stuff that I get into.
No, tell me.
No? So short-term rental secrets, the mastermind coaching program I'm a part of, they brought me on to be a coach because they want someone that can relate to the people starting the short-term rental business. That's unlike the other coaches right now that have been doing this 2-3 years, have 20 to 30 properties. They can't relate to the person that's kicking themselves because they can't get their first property. So they wanted someone that just went through the program. I went through the program over the last 10 months. I'm essentially a case study because I was able to find some success. So now they're having me coach other people to do it. And you can't really just be like so nice to them all the time. Like what you just said. Like you need them to be resourceful and figure stuff out on their own. And telling them what they want to hear is not always going to help them the most. So I'm trying to give them, I think, respectful but also direct feedback, and that's a new skill, where it's like you want to like make sure no one's feelings get hurt, but like at the same time, I want you to win, I want you to succeed. So I'm not just going to be nice the whole time, and like that's something we're taught, I think, a lot to be like, let's support each other, high five after whatever it is. Like
it's the participation trophy.
Yes, there's a lot of participation trophies.
The military doesn't encourage you to be tough. They make you tough.
Yes, and this is far from that, but there's similar principles where it's like you got to be responsible for your own actions. I'm here to help you and motivate you and give you action items, but I'm not here to just tell you you're doing a great job the whole time. I doubt that's what the military is doing either. As you know, it's probably the opposite.
Nothing you've ever
probably tell you how shitty you are at anything.
Yeah.
Do you think? What was your experience with that? With how they train you or how they motivate you?
It's a blessing to be treated, as I said, with enough respect that you're tough enough to handle.
Right.
A little bit of conflict.
Right.
Because you'll get calluses.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. It's a sign of respect.
You treat somebody like they're weak.
Right.
That's a sign of disrespect.
Yes. Like, can I tell you the truth with love? It might hurt. It might not be what you want to hear, but this is out of respect. This is out of love.
Except take that permission away.
What do you mean?
I love you, therefore I'm going to talk to you.
Right. Right.
I'm not going to ask for permission to talk to you harsh. I'm going to talk to you harsh. Because that's what requires you to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
I want you to do what you do, and I respect you enough that I'm not going to ask you permission to better your life.
Right. Right. And where I'm right now building is getting the credibility for them to trust that I want the best for them. As a new coach, as someone that's appears younger than most of my students, because I am age-wise younger than most of my students, but I need them to trust me that I can guide them in the right place. And I will do that directly and probably without permission. Like the permission is, I'm going to give myself permission to because I know this works. And then I'm trying to, in turn, give them the information that I know works.
Yeah, how are you with conflict? Like some people are very conflict avoidant by nature. I'm not, obviously.
I think I'm learning to be better at it. I think my parents, there's a lot of conflict growing up, so I would be the diffuser or like the mediator, and I would always want everyone to get along. There's definitely, I have a lot of people-pleasing tendencies, but the more I realize that that's not always valuable or helpful in a conversation, especially when I'm trying to help other people, the more I'm learning to lean into potential conflict. I'm not trying to necessarily bring about conflict and have them come back at me, but I will say things that are more borderline, but I think my threshold is towards the more timid side because I've always wanted people to be happy or not be offended and all that. But I think, I don't know, as I grow into a more coaching leadership role, I'm this is, I think, what you need. But I'm still just taking a second. What makes it so? What's up?
It's not about me. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What is your name and where are we?
My name is Ryan Leake. We are at my house in Austin, Texas. Do you want the address?
I don't want the address.
Yeah, I don't want them to have it either.
Okay, we'll go back down that road, but I want to ask you the most important question,
Yeah.
which is, what do you want out of this life?
I like this question. What I want is a loving and healthy family. I want that love to be contagious and bring other people into that family. So it's something that I've seen growing up in some of my friends' families, and I've always admired it. And I want to create that. I want to create traditions around bringing people that I love together. That's from a personal standpoint. From a professional, I guess still personal in a way, I want to inspire others to get over their self-limiting beliefs. This is something I think I've struggled with a little bit as I'm becoming an entrepreneur and not a W-2 worker or having a conventional corporate job. And I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that and that want more out of their lives, but there's some imposing belief that for some reason they can't get over. And I think I can be someone to inspire them to get over that hump.
Is this like projecting? Is what you want? It's things like I can help other people? Would they say like help your 5-year-old self, 5 years ago self?
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of it is like, I think the family thing too. And wanting to...
Yeah, you said you had you were the mediator in your family.
Yeah.
And then the thing you wanted was a peaceful, loving family.
Yeah, I think all of our goals are just projecting what we didn't have at one point in our life. A lot of it, for a lot of people, it's money. Like for me, it's. I'm not trying to say my family isn't loving already, but like, I'd like to create a more, I think, expansive family that sticks together and grows together and brings other people along in that journey. Just like I want to do with like how sometimes I had my own self-limiting beliefs about what I was capable of. And as I grow to believe in myself more, I realize how many people also might be feeling what I felt. And like what I'm probably still feeling in a way is there's still self-limiting beliefs. I know someone further down their journey than me can help me get over. So I feel like I want to add to that chain and create some form of positive impact. I get a lot of fulfillment from like adding value and seeing other people feel fulfilled. I hope that doesn't sound too basic of an answer.
No, but
it's how I feel.
Tell me more about your family.
I come from a very traditional father. He grew up in Vermont on a farm. Politics definitely got involved. He's very conservative, where my mom is quite the opposite. And she comes from a very opposite background as well. She grew up in a very affluent area of Northern California, going to country clubs, and they met through tennis, and I think that was the bond that kept them together for a while, and they ended up falling out of love, and that was after having me and my older brother, who's 3 years older. He's doing very well now, and growing up, I think there was just a lot of drama in the household, but that's not to say they didn't provide an incredible opportunity of life for me and like take care of me and do whatever it was that I think my brother and I needed. They gave us that support. One thing I was actually talking about the other day was like the words that your parents are telling you, and I think there might be a theme. My mom would always say you can do whatever you want, and I thought that actually might have had a much bigger impact than I realized growing up. But like she was always encouraging me to say what do you want? Like she wanted me to dream, and I'd consider myself a dreamer, and sometimes I think I project that a little bit on other people because I'm like, what do you want? Like I ask the same question. What are your dreams? Like what does the perfect life look like? And I think that goes back to what I want, which is helping myself and also other people figure out what it is I really want and then go after that and like actually try to chase that ideal life. Because I think everyone can actually attain that to their own whatever extent they want. Like you create whatever it is that you want, right? Like you can decide how big or small that is. Some people, if you just want the white picket fence, you can go get that. Some people want to own yachts and become president. They can also do that. But like, some people just, I think, don't give it thought. And I want to encourage those people to give it thought of what they want. And the ones that have an idea of what they want, I want to encourage them to go after that. If I were to tie that together, for me, I think starting this business of short-term rentals here in Austin, I think that's an avenue to get what I want, really, which is a platform to inspire others, and also the ability to create this family that can have these amazing memories come together and all that. Yeah.
Tell me about self-limiting beliefs. You have some?
Of course. I think...
You're so idyllic, though. You have this, you're so idyllic. You're like, you can do anything. But then you're like, I have self-limiting beliefs. So tell me about the hard part.
Yeah. I think some of my self-limiting beliefs would be, this is like, I don't explore this a lot because I try to focus on what's good, but right, like, if I were to lean into like where I think I hold myself back sometimes is like, I ask myself a lot, like, am I capable of doing this? The truth is, I'm answering yes to that question a lot more because I am starting to believe in myself more, but like, there's still so many things that I want to do, like create a platform and like be able to, like, truly, if I'm going to inspire other people, then I will need some form of platform or stage, or at least if I want to do that at scale, which I think is the most effective way to convey that message to as many people as possible. But it's like, do I have an interesting enough message to convey? That's a question I ask myself. Like, why me over other people? I ask myself, like if you look at my demographic, it's like I'm from a nice area in the Bay Area. It's not to say like that just means everything's great all the time, but like I did well in school and in sports, and like I have this pretty generic profile, and that's on the surface, of course. I think internally I feel like there's a lot more there, but it's like I would always get in my own way or I have gotten in my own way of saying, why would I be the person that can step up and inspire someone else? Or why would I be the person that can raise that loving family? Because I wasn't, I didn't see that example in my own family entirely. So is it even possible? Like, there's a lot of questions I have specifically around relationships and like the concept of love. Like, that's something like I think in my head I'm still learning, and I'm sure there's self-limiting beliefs around that concept, that in terms of commitment and confrontation, and how much I think how much I can commit to something, how much confrontation I can handle. Like, so those are some of the types of self-limiting beliefs that I'm working on. Like, it's stuff that I'm thinking about a lot more, but I'm acknowledging where some of those lie, and I'm trying to work to like be okay being a little more confrontational, or realizing like not everything needs to be perfectly in place to be able to commit to something. Right?
There's no such thing as perfect in this world.
Right. So like that was the idea. Like when my parents split up, it's like, oh, it's because they weren't like, they didn't have this like perfect match. And it doesn't, like, I'm seeing it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It doesn't have to be like they're always like in this honeymoon phase. I think my parents, it just didn't work out for potentially several reasons, but like I see the couples that do make it, and like there's mostly similarities between them and my parents, but they worked on their relationship a little more, and there was, I think, more chemistry from the onset. Besides, in my parents' case, tennis. Like, I feel like I'm talking about my parents a lot.
Well,
But
I'm curious how we got here.
Yeah.
So commitment issues plus, dating culture in 2024, swipe culture. Austin is particularly, from what I can tell, pretty difficult. It's a concentration of what I call first date syndrome.
Yeah.
A lot of swipe culture, a lot of a concentrated lack of commitment.
Right.
So, like, what's dating like for you? Because how tall are you?
6'1".
You can have anybody you want. You're good looking, you're successful.
I wouldn't say anyone, but dating specifically in Austin it can be active. I think for me,
It's a good word. I love that word.
for me, that's just gonna make me sound like such a douche, and that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is I was in a relationship for 4 years that I got out of 6 months ago, and I've been wanting to see what potentially other girls are like in the city, and for me it's going on a lot of like casual dates. Sometimes it's through an event where I meet them, or sometimes it's through a dating app, but you're right, it's a very like first date culture. I think a lot of people also, like kind of what we were talking about in the car, like there is this commitment issue, it feels like, as an umbrella over the city. There's this like inability for most people to commit. I think partially it's due to the fact that it is on the more recreational side of cities, where there's a lot of bars and nightlife and stuff going on, and people get distracted, and there's always like the opportunity cost that I think people get worried about, including myself. Like, what if there's someone else, or what if?
Why would I commit to you when might be able to find somebody 1% better?
Right, and then there's like the whole social media effect on this, where it's like we have access to so many people.
Swipe away.
Yes, yeah. I don't care that they live 4 states over. Like, they got all these followers. They're beautiful. Maybe there's a shot. Like we're so exposed to so many people, both in Austin through online dating apps, through social media, where it's like, I think a lot of people just in our generation, whether you're in Austin or not, have a harder time focusing and committing on what's right in front of them, when that can be incredible. Because I've met incredible girls, and like even my past relationships have been incredible, but there's still something like where it's like, maybe there's more. Like it's a hard. Maybe that's my own self-limiting belief. Like,
look, man, you're perfect. You deserve perfect.
yeah, right? Don't we? Yeah, we're all perfect. We all deserve perfect. It's a fun city to date in, but it's a more difficult city, from what I've experienced so far, to find like your true match, or like find other people that are more seriously pursuing that. At least, again, from my experience.
So how does this how does this fit into the business? You have this business, short-term rentals.
Mm-hmm.
How does that fit into your goals, your family goals?
For me right now, that is the tool to get money, which is the tool to create this dream life of mine, which is to have the family, to have a cabin near a body of water, to go on these trips, to bring people together, to pick up the tab for friends. Like that business right now, I think I would be lying to myself if I didn't at least acknowledge that my primary focus is to create this dream life. Like I of course when I do it, I want to serve the people I'm doing it for, because it's a service business, and I'm constantly going to be working on that product to make it better. So it's not like at any part of this process I'm trying to rip someone off or like miss the quality of the service. But if I'm being deep down thinking about why I'm doing it, it's an instrument to create this life I want to live. And I see it, the reason I chose it is because I see it as something that's super scalable, at least relatively scalable, and it's a residual income business. So I've been in a transactional, more brokerage role, and I've also, I don't think that was a good fit for me. I wanted something that had a little more consistency, or something you can build these blocks on, but like you never have to break the wall down. You can keep building.
You could be very conflict oriented to do sales as a career.
Yes.
A lot of no's, a lot of push.
Yeah.
A lot of, I got to go hunt and kill something every day to eat.
Right. And I've done that. I've experienced it. It's not that I was bad at that. I would have had to work really hard to convince myself that would be fulfilling to me, or something that would be sustainably enjoyable. Like, this is something I find that can be sustainably enjoyable, be built up over time, on top of each other, and create these means and resources for me to build this family and bring friends and loved ones together and travel. And also going back to like inspiring others, this has been an eye-opening experience, because I haven't felt like I'm in the arena now where I'm actually able to speak on what it's like to start a business, where before I'd always wanted to be that guy that was on a podcast, or I saw the person doing something like this and I was like, I want to be that person. I want to be doing something that's at least there's some noteworthiness to that. And I've put a few things out on social media, and people have reached out to me because they're like, I don't like my job. And most of these people happen to be in sales, which I don't know if is a coincidence or not. But they're reaching out to me, and this business is now providing that platform I was looking for to inspire other people. And that's I think that's just getting started, honestly. I feel like there's a lot of growth that I can have in that space of coaching and leading and inspiring people. But it's now I'm seeing these slivers of my ability to potentially inspire people to go do something, or get out of the job they don't like, or do something that they find more fulfilling. So I think that's another thing that I wasn't expecting going into the business, but it's now providing, is that ability to inspire other people.
So I talk to a lot of, my whole world is entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. I'm an artist. I'm the outcast as an artist.
Well,
and there's always this really interesting relationship about money, where everybody needs money.
Right.
The question is how much.
Yeah.
And we know entrepreneurs that have been willing to sacrifice what looks like fulfillment in exchange for money.
Right.
When they have enough.
Right.
So how do you view that? I mean, you kind of said, I'm doing this, I need money. You did say there's fulfilling things along the way.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of poor people that have families. Right. You don't need money for a family.
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile that?
It's a battle, I think, to reconcile that, because my view has shifted a lot around it. And I don't want to lead with the idea that my priority, that you need money to find fulfillment. Because as you said, there's people with very little that live very, very stress-free, fulfilling, happy lifestyles. So I battle with that thought a good amount. And I think something that I want to think about is to not go overboard with chasing this endlessly moving goal, or this goal that's constantly being pushed, where it's, I just want to make 10K a month, or now I want to make 20,000 a month. Okay, you hit that, but now I want to make 50,000 a month. And I think it's great someone told me goals are meant to grow into, not to get. And I liked that. Like, but at a certain point, I think I'm using that as a tool to unlock this next level of goal setting where it's not around money anymore. I'm hoping to make the amount where I think I would need to like raise this family and do the traveling, because I don't think, for me, these are the things I just want. And I'm trying to balance that with like how much do I actually need? Like where like I don't want to let that get in the way of like what I already have. I'm trying to bring my thoughts together too. I know. I think for me, I want to find a place with money where I'm grateful for having it, but I think there's a healthy level of wanting to grow your wealth. I don't want to feel guilty for wanting that, because there's things that the money can afford me that I would like. And a lot of that is just to like have a cool life and experience unique things and go to the most beautiful places around the world, and do that with people I love. And then eventually do that to support causes. I think the way I'm starting to see it also is like, I think there's a level of like good guys and bad guys that can have money. I do consider myself one of the potential good guys with the money that hopefully will come.
You said that so unsure of yourself.
I know, because it's like no, money makes this is a self-limiting belief. But like, if we're gonna pinpoint it, it's feeling guilty about wanting to have money to get the things that I want in my life. So like, there's a belief around like, do you even need the money? Like, why do you care so much about that? And it's like, I don't give a shit about the money. Like, the money is just like the thing I need to get these things I want. So, like, I think the belief that sometimes holds me back is like one, I'm like, all right, why do I want this? Do I need this? Rather than like being okay just wanting something. I think like I was part of how I was raised in a way, is like, do you even need this thing? But I'm like, no, absolutely not. Do we need most of the things we have? If we're all being real with ourselves, no. Do we want the things that we have or we're aspiring to get? Yes. So I'm trying to balance that where it's also just it's not just a selfish thing. Because I do believe money will come, and this is real. I believe money will come in, and I believe I will do good things with that money, and give it to people that either I want to help their story. I of course will spend some on myself because there's things I want that money will be used for, but like supporting other people on their journeys and like finding stories I believe in or something that moves me. It's like, I fully believe I will give a lot of money to other people. And even with that, there's still this belief where it's like, why me? Why would I be the one with the money? Like, do I need that much money? And actually, there's just those two. Like, for now, I'm sure there's a lot of shifting thoughts I think I've had around money in the last even months, like weeks.
Do you ever consider that the feeling is right and you're trying to talk yourself out of the feeling, and that maybe you don't need to? Maybe that feeling, I mean, I don't want anybody to feel guilty about money. Right. But sometimes, is there something there that you're trying to overcome that maybe you shouldn't? Could that be it? Or are you convinced that you have to overcome this?
I think I have everything I need right now. Like if I just didn't make another, I could figure out a way to live without making another dollar. Like,
it's hard because everybody needs money.
Yeah, I think I need to keep building capital and wealth to just even support my life and my future family's life. Because if I stop now, I could figure it out as an individual. Maybe I can couch surf, or I can go like find ways to get scrappy. But like, then I almost, like, the reverse side of that coin is it's selfish to do that and not make the money, because my future family, I do feel a responsibility to support them from a financial standpoint as well. Not as much as an emotional standpoint. And we talked about this a little bit getting coffee. It's like, I feel like first and foremost, emotionally and like, I think physically, making sure they're healthy and they have all the resources they need from a health standpoint. But then like, that all ties into this financial piece of it, because like, I want to make sure they have that house that they feel like is home. I want to make sure if there's anything that comes up from a medical side, like, that's taken care of. Like it's just a tool. And I your question about like that being a belief I'm trying to convince myself of or not, I think that's pretty clear in my head that it's a tool. And right, is that where you're getting at with the belief question?
You're wrestling with this, and so I'm just poking.
Yeah.
You're wrestling with it.
I do wrestle with it.
You have some underlying guilt.
Yes.
And that's not everybody. Certainly it's some people.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't feel guilty about making money and things like this.
Right.
So that's it's not a criticism, it's just
right.
That's something that you deal with, so I'm just finding out where that comes from. And you don't have to know the answer.
I have hints of what the answer would be.
Yeah, tell me.
Which would be my dad, who I love entirely, but such a frugal guy. Like, he really doesn't like spending money. And he has worked his job, the same job, he's maybe had a few raises over the last 30 years, but he makes how much he makes, and he makes do with what he has. And he's not going to ask for more. He's going to work hard. He's going to put his head down. And it's like the thought of, like, to him, I think the thought of needing more is like, it's just like feels selfish, and like it feels unnecessary, and it feels too excessive. So like, that I think is where some of the skill, like, I can pinpoint that right away, and there's probably some more layers to it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's a lot of households where if you come from a family of labor.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I'm going to go make outsized returns.
Right.
On low labor.
Right.
It's seen maybe inherently as unfair.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, but I'm creating value. I'm going to do this.
Right.
And now you have this contention because it's your family.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can see how he was affected by it. He grew up on a farm, herding cows, like, herding the sheep, getting the milk, getting the eggs.
Real labor.
Real labor.
And now he's like, you're making so much money, and all you do is show people properties. You're out of your mind.
Yeah. So he's like, and it was like there was always tight around money.
Does it cause friction with, like, respect? Does he not respect it? Or do you worry that he might? Do you worry about that?
I think he respects what both my brother and I do, because we work hard. I think what he really values is hard work. And we both, like, put our heads down and work hard. I think he's kind of amazed by how much money you can make.
Jealous?
Like, I don't know if he's jealous. He's a simple man. And my mom is very complicated in ways that, like, I love her for, but like they're very different. And yeah, I think my dad is just like, he's just like, great, you make all this money, now take me on a vacation, because he hasn't left the country, or he did. He was in the army and he was stationed in South Korea for a little bit, but besides that, like, he has not gone on a big vacation.
But you carried the guilt.
Yeah, in a way, and or is it guilt or is it responsibility, or is it both? Like,
You said guilt. I didn't say guilt.
did I say guilt?
You did.
Maybe I think they're hand in hand in a way, like maybe I said this or not. My goal this year is to take my dad to Europe for the first time, and like, I'm not doing that without money. Like, I want to take him to the 2025 French Open. This is a goal I've written out for the last year, and have him have that experience. And I'm not going to feel, maybe I will feel guilt. Like, when I purchase it, actually, when I think about it, like, when I spend all that money, I'm like, there's like, oh, what else could I have spent that money on? Could I have given that to someone that needs it more? Rather than like, we're just going to go experience all these joyous things and have all these happy emotions, but there's people suffering. Like, there is some guilt.
You ever been anywhere poor?
What's that?
You ever traveled anywhere poor?
Yeah, I've been to the Tenderloin of San Francisco, but that's not a poor city. I'm trying to think of, like Rosarito, Mexico. It's a pretty heavy scene to see for a guy that's been in pretty great cities my whole life. So, yeah, I'd consider that a poor area.
Yeah, that's what did it for me.
Mexico, or going to poor areas?
Going to poor places. Straighten me right out.
In what way? Do you mind me asking? I know this.
For me, it was I created a grave appreciation for, like, Americans are absurdly rich.
Yeah.
Not pretty rich, not very rich.
Right.
Hilariously, absurdly outsized rich, and all you really have to do is show up.
Yeah.
And you don't really know that until you go somewhere where they're like going down to the river to get water.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we have running water. That makes us rich.
Right. I think part of, like, I've seen slivers of that, but I think I understand, like, how fortunate we are in a lot of ways, and I think that it makes me feel, like, guilty for wanting more.
Yeah, it's probably the correct feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. No judgment.
I can't. No, I know. I can't. I can't say I don't want more, but I also can't say that I'm just going to use all this money for myself, because I don't think that's true either.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
What did you? Tell me about this last year. When did you start the business?
January of this year, 2024.
What have you had to become? What kind of person have you had to become since January?
So I like this question. I've changed a lot. I think I've changed a lot in the last year. I've had to become confident, like much more confident in myself and my ability to serve the way I say I'm going to serve. I also think I've had to become much more resourceful, because I'm figuring things out as they come, and I'm not just taking answers from other people. Like, I'm asking myself questions, I'm getting asked questions, and I'm having to go figure out the answer. Whereas I was more used to being told what to do, and now I go either get asked a question about what to do and then answer that, or like I have to tell other people what to do. And I've had to like lean into this more like, I guess, leadership role, which I've, from a business perspective, not been in. and I'm figuring it out as I go. I also think I've had to stabilize myself a lot more. There was a time where I was feeling very anxious with life. I was not taking care of myself at certain points. I didn't really value what it meant to be healthy and like take true care of myself, go to the gym, eat good foods, like get good sleep. I neglected a lot of that and like definitely felt that this was before even having a business. Like I was just not feeling like I could do whatever it is I had to do to the best of my ability. And now I feel like I need to be on my shit. And like, I can't just, because I'm like, I feel responsible for other people's properties, which is sometimes for an American, for like, it could be something they care about a lot and they value a lot because it's one of their biggest investments. So I feel like
people have Airbnbs and nice houses.
Yeah, for the most part, they're a nice property. So like, I've had to really level up my own self-care to be able to take care of other people and other properties, and all the responsibilities of trying to manage this business.
If people see you and you don't take care of yourself, they're certainly not going to take care of their property. If you want to take care of your own
Right.
property.
And I got to show up and I got to prove to them sometimes within 10 minutes that I take care of myself. And a lot of that's just first impression. So it's like, do you look like you're fit? Like, there's people just have these natural judgments about other people.
Correct, by the way.
What's that?
They're correct.
Yeah.
They're correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's, everybody's, we shouldn't judge. And I'm like, yeah.
But you can tell if someone's jacked. Like, or you can tell if someone works out.
But you shouldn't judge, but also it's really useful.
Yes.
If you have clean clothes and and you're in shape and you stand up straight and you look somebody in the eyes,
right,
you're going to get a lot more opportunities because
yes. And I think I've definitely elevated my ability to be presentable, and actually a big thing this year, which ties into confidence and a bit of competence, is, man, I used to be like truly terrified of public speaking. Mm-hmm. Genuinely terrified of it. To the point where I was in a public speaking class in college and I would sleep through that class and just skip it when I thought I would have to speak that day, because sometimes they did impromptu speeches. And this year I started an in-person meetup where I was on the microphone and I was the one conducting, or whether sometimes we had a guest speaker, but sometimes it was just Q&A. I was the one up there speaking. And like the first time I did that, I took a propanolol, which is like a anti-anxiety medication, because I was freaking out. And then the second time I had a beer. The third time I just did it. And then the next 5 times I just did it again, and I got better at it each time. And I think that honestly this year, a lot of it's been about like finding this confidence and like in myself, in my abilities, in my voice. Because another self-limiting belief I think I grew up with was like I was never like the top of the class, like never the smartest person in class. Like when you go around to like read popcorn style, I would dread when people would call on me because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna slip on some words. I'm not gonna say this correctly. I'm not gonna pronounce that right. I would like get in my own head about like, am I smart enough to do whatever it is, to read that passage or to start a business, to now coach other people to start their own business. So like I've developed a lot more confidence in myself to
I want to ask
do
you
all
about
this.
that, but first,
Okay.
you got a prescription for that prescription drug that you're
No, so
right.
we'll just block out that footage, but I have some if you'd like to try. Sometimes we'll take them on flights now.
No, I don't take illegal drugs.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know what you're talking about.
Tell me more about confidence. What's confidence worth? How do you gain confidence? That's a better question.
I think a lot of it is just experience. I think it's simply doing shit. Like putting yourself out there and like experiencing what it is like. Like, because I've actually failed, like public speaking I think is a relevant example. Like I've failed in public speaking. I've gone up in front of a group of like 200 people and choked on my words, which is like most people's biggest fear.
It's definitely your biggest fear.
It was a big fear of mine, truly. Like, and I did that. I lived that, but I did it again. Like, it took me a while to like find the confidence in my voice again, and my ability to even just like speak in front of groups. But it was like, if I don't try it again, I'm never gonna feel confidence. And I still am gonna feel some nerves when I go up and speak in front of a group. But now I've been assured through experience that it can go well. I also think a big thing that's helped is framing things rather than in their worst case scenario, in their best case scenario.
I'm going to give you a tool.
Sure.
Miss Kate and I use this tool. She gave it to me, actually.
Yeah.
When considering the future, ask yourself, what could go right?
Okay. Perfectly in line with where I was going with that. Like, a lot of the times, whether it was public speaking, starting the business, making a sales call, I was always thinking about, what if they hang up on you? What if I choke on my words? What if the business fails? And I've always thought like this.
Are you neurotic? Do you know this? Do you know that some people are more neurotic biologically than others?
I don't know. Can you test it for that?
I'm testing it right now, and you are.
I've never seen neurotic as a positive thing, but
No, it's not. It's propensity to negative emotions.
Okay, yeah.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, and like I can trace that back to when I was 12 years old, and I was in a soccer tournament, and there was penalty kicks, and I was the last one of the championship game for the state finals, and last one, so you're tied, all eyes on you, full stadium. I go up to take my penalty. The entire time, I'm gonna miss a shot. That's all I was thinking. And I, whether you believe in spirituality or manifestation or not, like, I think I convinced myself to miss that shot. Like, and my dad even comes up after the game. He says, "What were you thinking?" And I remember this like it was yesterday. This is over a decade ago. And he comes up to me after the game. He says, "What were you thinking when you were going up to take that?" And I'm bawling my eyes out. I said, "I thought I was going to miss the shot." And it's so powerful. Like, now that I realize you can flip that and you can control the way you think about each situation, whether it's good or bad. Like when I think about flying, because that's one of my things I don't enjoy, but I'm trying to work on this. I think about the turbulence. I think about the kids crying. I think about what if the freaking plane goes down? And I'm like, there's other examples of this, but now I'm trying to reframe it. It's like, what if it goes well? What if there's no turbulence? I mean, there probably will be, but like, like what if it's a safe landing? What if the pilot's great at what he does? And you can kind of do that with anything. So I think I've started to learn how to think more optimistically about each situation. And now I will go into a sales meeting, or like I'll go to meet a potential client, and I'm like, the odds that I get this deal closed are high, because I can see it happening already. Like, I already see myself sending them the DocuSign. I'm not thinking like, oh, they're not gonna like me. Oh, they're gonna like talk back at me or like say my service is bad. I'm going in with a lot of confidence, and I think that's built through what we're telling ourselves and that experience of doing it. Man, these are good questions.
Yeah, these are good answers. I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
You want to make this money. You want this business to succeed.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in there, we're going to find a lady that we're going to commit to.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to build a family.
Right.
What if you get some of those things and they're not as fulfilling as you think? Your parents ended not as you'd want. we know people who have businesses that we know people together that have businesses that make insane amounts of money
Yeah.
and don't seem to know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
So, we talked a lot about wanting things, but then like how much do I want? All these things. What's fulfillment look like outside of the things you want? Or what happens if you get all the things you want and it's not as fulfilling as you thought?
Go on an ayahuasca retreat.
More drugs. I love this
More
guy.
synthetic drugs. I mean, there's always an answer. I think and I hope that I would keep trying things to find what I deep down want. Like, I don't think I'll ever end the journey to find that, like, just satisfaction and levels of fulfillment. I don't know if I will ever feel this, like, full kumbaya moment where it's like everything is perfect and it's not going to change. Like, I don't, and I'm okay with that. But I think there are levels of enjoyment and fulfillment in life that are attainable. And if I get the family, and if I'm able to inspire other people and go travel the world, like, and that still doesn't fulfill me, I would be pretty surprised, to be honest. Like, I don't know, but I guess to think about what if it doesn't, I think I would double down on serving other people. I think I would double down on helping other people. Because I already know that is something that fulfills me. On any level of it. I know for a fact that is something that is able to fill my cup. And like, if I couldn't see that changing, to be honest. So like whenever I help someone, no matter what the scale of that, and if I get all those things and I'm not feeling fulfilled, I think I would go find different causes to lean into. Yeah, that's what I think I would do if I faced that. But I do think I'd feel pretty good after if that dream came true. I think I'd be a pretty happy man.
All right, last round of questions.
Okay.
My goal here, in and of itself, this is like a podcast. It's not that exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my goal is to talk to you next year.
Yeah.
And ideally, in 5 years.
I hope so.
Yeah. 5 years is like, you'd be surprisingly different in 5 years.
If it's anything like this last year, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. So what does 5 years from now look like for you?
Well, let's see. I'll be 30.
Jesus.
I'll be 30 years old. I think I will have most of the things that I'm dreaming about today. I think I'll be much more passionate. Like I think I'll find fewer things to dig into deeper, rather than right now I'm saying yes to a lot of things, and I have a lot of different hobbies, and I think for where I'm at, I'm enjoying that. But I think there's going to be certain causes or certain activities that I will commit to much more.
Real quick, tell me some of your hobbies. Just so we know, for posterity.
Yeah, I pretty much any sport. I play a lot of tennis, golf, pickup basketball, men's softball. Used to be baseball, but now men's softball is what we do. I'm picking up guitar. I want to learn an instrument. That's something I hope in 5 years I should be fluent in some instrument. Other hobbies, spend a lot of time with friends, love to travel. I know going to the gym, like it's all active. I mean, I do a good amount of reading, but
What kind of books?
Like such a self-help, like business, real estate, like books that you can't fall asleep easily to, or maybe some people could because they just find it boring. But yeah, a lot of like business, real estate books.
Okay, 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. Man, I like to think like I'll be really invested into coaching. Like coaching and leading, and I think I'll spend a lot of my time helping other people figure out. I don't even know if it's all going to be related to real estate at that point. I hope that expands into like whatever business it is. But the way I see it is like growing a lot as like a potential mentor or coach. Like I think in 5 years, I also think by that time I will have that life partner I'm looking for. I better, right?
I'm gonna get you on that.
Yeah, I better. And like, yeah, like I have a bit of a vision for what that woman will be like, and like I plan to find someone. It's not just gonna be looks. Like there's just personality traits that I want them to fit into. So
How mature of you?
I know, right?
How mature of you?
I know, right? Just really like.
Where are you gonna live?
I don't have a good answer for that. I don't know. I could be in Austin. There's a part of me that could see myself traveling for each season and living in different cities. I think I'll be traveling. I think I'll definitely want to like go out and see different cultures. Like by then, I imagine I will go to, I hope, most of the continents. But I don't know. And I'm okay with that. I'm open to staying here. I'm open to going back to California. I'm open to kind of wherever life takes me. I think my priority is definitely over the next 5 years is going to be like finding that person and continuing to grow the business. And I'd like to create a business at that point that is less dependent on one location and is able to be more flexible with where I am. Just geographically, I want to be able to potentially live in different cities. So, and then my parents will both be retired in 5 years, and I'm going to help with that. That's another important thing to me. My dad's 78. My mom is 65. They're both still working, and it's great. I respect that, but in 5 years, they're not. Between my brother and I, we're gonna make sure that they are not. They're just doing whatever they want to do for that era of their life.
I'm gonna make you watch this before we talk next time.
Okay.
What do you think you're gonna say?
When I watch it?
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm probably gonna. There might be some cringing. There might be some like self-guidance, like, oh man, slow down. Like think through that thought before you say it.
It's hard to do this on camera.
Yeah, because this truly is one of my few times with the light and the cameras. I think I'll stand by most things I said. I'm sure there's a few things where I'm like, oh, I wish I could have rephrased that. It's gonna be difficult to watch myself, but I think I'm gonna be like, that was a cool experience. I'm glad this exists, and now that's the basis for whatever future growth. And even if this is the worst interview you've ever had, the next one's gonna be better. So now it's gonna be our baseline for like any growth on top of this.
Yeah, we're setting the bar low.
Yeah, exactly. We're setting the bar super low. So I wanted this to be the worst interview you've ever had and look like a total fool. So it's just better from there.
The light doesn't help. I messed up by doing it in the dark.
Yeah. That's okay. We're always growing.
Yeah.
The baseline's low, so the next one's going to be better.
Yeah, I thrive in environments of low expectations.
Yes, exactly. It's gonna be a trip. I truly can't imagine. There doesn't exist a video of me speaking about goals and desires and different very important concepts that we think about and act on, and the business and family and travel. Like, it's gonna be crazy watching this one day. I already know that. But yeah,
that's all I got.
that's it.
That's it.
How long was that?
A little over an hour.
Yeah, all right. That's a trip, man.
It's fun, right?
Thank you. Those are some really good questions. I like. Yeah, going impromptu, like. That's something I'm
What impromptu? What do you mean?
like not preparing answers. I'm glad it's that format.
Oh. Yeah.
Like, I didn't prepare anything. I just speaking from the heart.
Yeah.
I think that's what you want, right?
I think if you prepare, I don't want you to sell me anything.
Right.
Podcasts and whatnot are so like, we're gonna market this.
Right.
And I think the thing that
Do you want this on?
the thing that I got sick of with podcasts was they'd say, Ryan, I want to hear your story. But they don't want to hear your story. They want to sell your story so that they can get clicks.
Yeah.
And it really hit me, one of the most like sort of, not to give myself any credit, but it took the most courage to realize that the thing I was supposed to do is not for marketing, it's not for podcasts,
Yeah.
it's for you.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing to prepare
Right.
because I kind of want it to be, you said, oh, maybe cringe. I'm like, I kind of want it to be cringe because I want to see you grow. I want you to be able to see you grow.
Yeah.
And if you're all like proper and prim, you're going to look back and be like, oh, I wasn't real.
Right.
And that's worse.
I agree. It wouldn't have if this was like, if everything I had said had been like to a T what my interpretation of what I would think your audience wants to hear, I would be disappointed in that. Like, that was just, I think there's a level with the cameras and the lights of you, like, you're like, I want to just ignore that. Like,
Turns everybody into an actor.
yeah.
A terrible actor.
And like I could feel certain times when I was like, oh, who's gonna see that? But for the most part, I think I try to remove that and just be like, this is how I feel. These are my thoughts on this.
This is not discreet. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like.
Also, if it helps you, if it makes you feel better, I almost do no preparation. I have just enough questions and just enough of a arc that I want to cover that the conversation doesn't go dull.
Right.
But I'm not preparing either because, for the same reason, like if I go through the script,
right,
then I don't get to hear your story. You get to hear my script, my format.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was pretty.
You did great.
I think I was pretty authentic.
You did great. What's interesting on my end is seeing everybody's different.
Right.
And you have your story and you see it, but then I see other people's story. I'm like, people are different.
Yeah.
People are different, and that's fun.
Yeah. This can make you feel a lot of ways. Like it makes you want to think deeper, at least for me. Like, so you could get so much deeper thoughts. Because, like, most people also see other people and you just get the surface level of that person. You're seeing at scale how people think when they're forced to think deeper. Not a lot of people see that.
I love the way you use the word forced.
Not forced. You're right.
But I like that word. No, but I like that word because what you're ask, right? I think we talked about earlier about surface level or not wanting to being polite,
right?
Not wanting to push people.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, well, what's up with your family? It's an uncomfortable question,
right?
And so it might be maybe rude or maybe create some weird friction. And part of the reason I'm good at this is because I don't care.
Right, it's a good point though, but I'm also willingly, like, all your subjects are willingly saying whatever they're gonna say to that question. And I'm like, that's an interesting concept because, like, you're asking me these questions, I'm not even thinking about potentially being like, I don't want to answer that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you whatever, like, I'm just gonna answer them. That's funny to think about.
Yeah.
Like, at no point was I hesitant to be like, my parents went through this before, like consider anything too personal.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, I was trying
I appreciate you being people. I appreciate when people, and I appreciate when you are open, because
well, it's just the reality, right? Like, so like what you're saying with like social media, it's like, what are we talking about here? Are we gonna just talk about all the good shit? Or like, are we gonna talk about like what actually happened in your life to make you feel the way you feel and why? Like,
yeah, you were very vulnerable, and I'm grateful.
yeah, no, thank you. You had good questions, man.
Great. You did good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, I wasn't even trying to do good. That was just.
That was good.
Thank you, man. That was.